Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Hotfix, which is our laser focused. Take it away, sir.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Video game discussion podcast, kindly funded by you, the people, the delightful masses, via Patreon. If you want to support the podcast, then you can do so up here by clicking the linky, and you can do so down here. You will get a shout out between when you support via Patreon and the next hotfix. We cannot do it before that because that would require time travel, and that's not possible. This week we would like to thank Vayner. Thank you very much for your support.
To me, that does.
Son, you talked all over their name. I'm going to have to say it again. They get a double shout out because Sty interrupted it like a scumbag. Vayner, thank you very much for your support. It is greatly appreciated. Anything you can do to help us via Patreon keeps Hotfix running. It is much appreciated. Now,
Exactamundo. I always wanted to say that. Exactamundo.
I don't know why. Why would you want to say that?
Isn't it from like Terminator 2 or something?
Is it Terminator? I think it is a famous thing, ain't it? Hasta La Vista is definitely Terminator. But that doesn't mean
it's
the same
something
thing
from the 90s. It's like some sort of hip saying from the 90s, like radical. Anyway.
Speaking of things that are radical, we've got a right topic to start off.
You know what, actually? No, screw you and your topics and starting off. I want a little jingle. I want like a do-do-do-do-do-do, welcome to Hotfix, laser focused video game podcast. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. And then it starts. That's what I want.
Well, all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to isolate that, and then I'll just play it at the start of Hotfix every time, and that could be the jingle.
It'd be quality, bloke.
And I'll even isolate that as well and make it so you do a little dance. Although that would require some serious editing after the fact, I feel, and I'm not a massive fan of editing. It's got to be raw, bloke, raw, and uncensored, which it always is, pretty much.
Raw and uncensored. Oh yes.
So first topic before we go even further off the rails, and we've managed to keep almost actually, to the whole remit of video game discussion so far, almost, unlike most of the hot fixes that we do.
Don't make me get McGee in here.
I'll do it. You need to find via what is it, augmented reality. So this is the best news that Stylosa has ever seen in his life. This is a GPS-enabled Pokemon Go app has been announced. This is ridiculous.
It's not funny. This is good.
It is good, but it's like... Okay, so Pokemon Go will be a free app for both iOS and Android devices, launching in 2016. Players will be able to catch, trade, and battle in the real world by utilising location information. Pokemon Go's gameplay experience goes beyond what appears on screen as players explore their neighbourhoods, communities, and the world they live in to discover Pokemon alongside friends and other players. This is mental. Like, this is a really good idea.
Go back to your school years, right? You must have had Pogs, bloke. Did you have Pogs? Everyone had a fucking Pog.
I genuinely still have my
Pogs.
I think they're in the loft somewhere.
Jesus Christ, you weirdo. Anyway,
what about Tamagotchi?
Yeah, I had a Tamagotchi, but it died.
Mine was always a slug. I remember that. It always turned into the really shit slug.
It was like a penguin or something, Miles, but it died, bloke. No, the actual thing was a penguin.
Oh, okay. No, I just had the little circular
They were quite good, actually.
You could fight other people's.
Basically,
I remember that.
Yeah, a Tamagotchi was like a pet that you had to feed. It was like, you got these games on your iOS and God knows what, where you have to,
your
like,
iOS.
every 3 hours something happens.
I'm such an old man. These kids, the games on their iOS.
Your iOS. Where you have to like come back and click to make something happen. It was like that, wasn't it? Because you didn't feed the little bastard, it would die. And like, if you didn't fit in it, oh my God, it was crazy. It was from Japan, wasn't it? Some sort of crazed Japanese madness, much like Pokemon itself. Anyway, Pogs, we're going back to Pogs. You imagine being a little whippersnapper, right, in this day and age, walking around with $10,000 worth of fucking electronic equipment on you, because apparently that's what everybody has these days. All these little spoilt brat bastards walking around with fucking $1,000 iPhones and shit. Yeah, all that crap. You imagine if you sat down for a game of Pokemon, right? Because people used to do this, didn't they, with the cards, the trading card game. I don't know where Pogs came from, but I remember playing Pogs with somebody and taking Pogs off them.
Pogs were a big fucking deal, man. They were a big deal. They made a ton of money.
You had a metal one. You had a metal Pog, didn't you?
Right,
what was that? That was like the...
You had the one that you like threw onto them. Yeah. And then they when they bounced upside down, you kind of got to keep them. I never had metal ones. I only had plastic ones. That's what I distinctly remember about that.
But it's such a crazy game if you think about it. Go spend all this money. Well, spend your pocket money on Pogs. Go to school, chuck them on the floor. If they fall the wrong way, the geezer gets them. It's like
it's mad.
What? Yeah. Times have changed though. Apparently, everyone's got to be a winner at school these days, and there can't be a defeat. It's all about taking part. Anyway, no. So yeah, Pokemon. This thing. You cannot honestly say to me that if you were at school as a little whippersnapper right now, and you had the chance to play Pokemon effectively, now I've used that properly, in the real world with, I think I did,
I'll let it slide.
With augmented reality through your mobile device, and you're like, wow, there's
you
Bulbasaur.
Apple fanboy.
There's Charizard, you little fucker. And then you find him, got you now, boy, yeah. That's what's going to happen. And I would have done that, and I would have thought it'd be pretty good. But you know what? I've said before, haven't I, about Pokemon and about the Wii U, which I was going to get and show, but what's the point? That I've got a Wii U that I don't ever use. I did play Bayonetta 2 on it, though. But why didn't they ever make a proper Pokemon-like game on that? Because surely that would have sold ridiculous. Now, I know Pokemon isn't Nintendo. I don't think it's Nintendo.
It is, isn't it?
Is it? No, not that's making the game. It's a different company, isn't it? Summit Labs or something they're called.
Oh, I always thought that it was made by.
No, it's a Nintendo thing. Yeah,
Nintendo.
It's a Nintendo thing. But the company that's making it.
There's loads. Okay, so publisher is obviously Nintendo, but developers are listed as Game Freak, Creatures Inc., Genius, Sonority, Umbrella, Hudson Soft, Intelligent Systems, Shunsoft, HAL Laboratory, Tecmo Koei, and Bandai Namco. So
okay, that was more than I expected. It's Niantic Project or something. These are the guys making the mobile version. But like, my point is, why is it taking them this long to actually realise? You know what? I mean, I know Nintendo had a whole problem with the mobile devices, didn't they? Like, they didn't like smartphones. I don't know why, because their games would translate quite well, but they want to sell their hardware. So I do know why. But their hardware is like, I don't know. It's whatever. Everyone's got a smartphone, haven't they? They haven't got a fucking Nintendo 3DS. Why would you carry one of them? If you've got a smartphone, blah, 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 and all of that shit. But this, to me, looks like a really fucking good idea. Now, I think Pokemon's crap. Like, I don't care about Pokemon, but I can appreciate a good idea when I see it. And if you can let people capture Pokemon in the real world, I mean, there's even like a Bluetooth adapter for this thing, which I'm guessing is going to let you, like, it's almost going to act like your Pokeball thing, so you can capture them.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell? Crazy.
There's, as they say, dedicated trainers will be able to buy the Pokemon Go Plus, a small physical device that can be worn on the wrist and will connect with the app using Bluetooth. It will vibrate and light up if a Pokemon is nearby, and will also allow players to perform basic interactions without opening the app itself. So you could actually, presumably, you could just be walking around, it'll start flashing and go off. You kind of, if you move in a certain direction, it'll flash more, and then you press a little button and you've just captured a Pokemon. Don't even have to get your phone out of your pocket. So it would be like
you do a throwing action or something. According to that little promo video, like, you throw the Pokeball at them. Come here, boy.
That, you know what, we've got the promo video up. Do we dare show it? Or will they take it down? This is Nintendo after all.
Don't do it full screen. Just do it in a little box and turn the sound off.
There we go. Little box, turn the sound off.
Then.
And we shall go to the desktop so we can all watch it together, but no sound and in a small thing. There we go. Imagine Pokemon.
It makes me laugh, though, because it's like all adults. It's all like 30-odd-year people. It's not really like kids or anything. It's like, you're never going to see. Like, I'm never going to see somebody running up the street with the phone like this. What are you doing, mate? I'm after Pikachu, the little bastards over there.
Pikachu.
Like,
There's a fucking Pikachu round here. I can smell him. My wrist keeps going off.
Imagine if it's like... There's only one in that area.
Pikachu.
Yeah, if there's like there's only one in that area, and everyone has a fight over it, like running. Fuck you, mate! It's my Pikachu. No, like in like, there you go, like in Times Square, Mewtwo's running around. There's fucking Mewtwo, man, and everyone's running. Guns are involved. Pokemon killings. Jesus, it's getting fucking real now. Yeah, so I've got the Mewtwo.
They all did the throw. One? I'm really hoping that the throw is actually the thing now that you've said it. That if you're holding the thing, if you got it on your wrist,
yeah,
surely.
Wrist, yeah.
I mean, this stuff is quite sophisticated now. I'm assuming that it could tell the difference between, if you're walking around and like swinging your arm about a little bit as you walk, it'll be able to tell the difference between that and raising your arm to a certain height and performing the throwing action. Yeah. It must be able to tell the difference between those, and that would actually be pretty good. Although you would, but for people who didn't know about it, you see some lad walking around the town centre. He goes over to the corner by McDonald's and then just starts going. It's gonna be like, the hell is going on with this guy? What's his problem?
People getting arrested, like going down dark alleys, just like waving their arms, shouting. It's like, what the fuck? So, police, there's a guy and he's walking around and he's like acting really weird. He keeps shouting into his phone and he's like, "I gotta catch them all." Like, I don't know what he's doing. We got it. Honestly, though, I think this is such a good idea, but it's probably going to sell like. Well, it's free to play, isn't it? The app's free to play.
Yeah, I mean, if the app's free to play and you don't actually, if you don't need it, which it suggests that you don't, it's like you will also be able to buy the wrist thing. Then
they have microtransactions in all day of the week.
It's gonna be ridiculously popular because surely that's what. If you're a fan of Pokemon, if you've I mean, technically, I suppose I should have grown up with Pokemon, but somehow I didn't. If you grew up with Pokemon and that's like one of your favourite franchises, you're going to want to be able to do that. That's like the thing that you want. You kind of, on some level, everyone kind of wishes that they'd be able to do the stuff that they do in a game. And I know it's AR, it's not actual, like a full kind of virtual reality experience. And of course, there's no chance of throwing a small ball at an eagle and having it come home with you. But, I mean, this is the closest you're going to get. And if you can go around and be like, if you can, especially like, think about kids in like high schools and stuff, high schools, primary schools, the lot. It's gonna be a way of them actually doing this stuff, not for real, but you know what I mean. And any game that allows you to actually go out and walk around and do stuff instead of, and this is going to sound really old, but having gone for a walk for about an hour and a half every day for the last couple of months, I'd forgotten how good walking is for you. If there's a game that promotes going outside and looking around and just generally not sitting there all day doing nothing, I think I'm kind of a fan of that, even though it's a popular pastime.
See, I've got an issue with, like, I don't know how schools are these days. All I've got is my experience of schools, which is getting on quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, how long ago were we
in
at
my
school?
day, there was
14 something years ago.
Like, you got to remember, like, well, I think like the smartphones are a big part of what's going on with kids these days, and I think it must be radically. I think it'd be interesting to walk around a school and just see how the kids play. Because when I was at school, everyone's playing football, everyone's doing something. Nobody's sitting on phones or games or sitting on Game Boys or anything like that. They might have been playing Pokemon cards. They might have been playing with the Pogs. That there'd be the people who would like at my school. They had like music clubs which you could fucking go to. Like maybe Kerry would have gone with his guitar or something. I'd be playing football on the field. They'd let you get things like if you wanted to play fucking cricket or whatever, you could go and play cricket. They had a long jump you could fucking do. There was like a lot of it was activity. It wasn't just like
I hadn't actually. You you saying that I hadn't actually considered the fact that like when I was at school, like this didn't exist. This wasn't a thing. Like, it literally just didn't... There was nothing like this. You could have Game Boys and shit, but obviously if you got your Game Boy out at school, firstly, no one brought them to school, and secondly, if they did, they'd get confiscated. Which is why no one took them to school. Like, I had a bloody Nokia brick that
playing Snake.
Yeah, when people first started to get... And this... God, I feel so old saying this. When people first started to get mobile phones when they were kids, which was around, I think, our generation at school...
Yeah, it was like year 8 or something at school, 1999 probably.
It was a big deal. Like, it was a big thing.
Yeah.
It was, oh my god, that guy's got a phone. Like, it was still like a new technology, and not that many people had them. And even those very quickly got banned. Like, you could have it with you in your bag, but it had to be turned off. And if you did get it out, even if it was like lunchtime at my school, they would still, like, the teacher saw you.
You couldn't get it out, yeah.
But it's like, how much has that changed? I'm assuming it's only got stricter. Because
no. If they don't bet anymore, they just let you have your phone, but they won't let you like take it out in the class. They'll probably tell you off, but they're not gonna. So like, you could wander around. Everybody has a phone,
so you can wander around with it at lunch, but you just don't get it out during lessons. I guess.
I think so. Yeah.
That seems crazy to me because these. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I'm like having a smartphone.
There's a high school by me. Well, there's a high school by me, and I've gone past the entrance a few times. When the kids have been like waiting outside, and all of them are on the phones, so they're just in like groups, standing there like looking at the phones. They're on Facebook basically and shit like that.
Yeah,
and it's weird. It makes
probably talking to each other on Facebook.
Yeah. Probably are. Honestly, probably are. I don't know, but I just think this Pokemon thing is a good idea for what that game is, and I think it'll probably do pretty fucking well. And God knows, Japan absolutely love mobile gaming on their phones. And what was that game that was making like $4 million a day or something crazy?
Oh, I can't remember what that was called, but that was
making more money than Pablo Escobar, the super drug dealer.
I still haven't watched that. Don't spoil it. But yeah, it's gonna do really, really well. But this is the thing that really confuses me. It's like, we know how big mobile games are in Japan. They are mental.
Yeah.
Nintendo, last time I checked, were based there. How has it taken them this long to kind of equate success with mobile games? Because I know, it's like, it just doesn't make any sense to me, because you are based in a country whereby that is your biggest market. So to ignore that market, or at least not bring this kind of franchise to that market, when that's what's making the most money, it's just a bit crazy. It's like, it is a really good idea and it's going to be really popular, but I just cannot help but wonder why it's taken them this long to.
That company just takes ages to do anything. That's its problem. I mean, they know they were right. Handheld gaming, mobile gaming has always been big in Japan. Nintendo, for the last 20 years, have been in that with the Game Boys, right?
Yeah.
Sega tried with the Game Gear, had a battery life of about a fucking minute, so that was shit, and it was also massive. People didn't play, blah, blah, blah. Nintendo have been dominant. The DS comes out, holy shit, make even more money. 3DS comes out, great. But at that time, smartphones are starting to get more like prevalent, I guess. But the thing with smartphone games is, and there was an interesting thing about this, is that the top games haven't changed really since 2012. They're the same. In fact, games which have got up to the same sort of levels as like Clash of Clans are Clash of Clans clones. And that's a problem with the gaming market on mobile. It's all very similar. Yeah. But Japan's a bit of like its own kind of market, and it always has been. But you are right. Like, why haven't they gone, oh, you know what, guys? Look how big this is. Because they would clearly see it. Everybody in the country has got a fucking smartphone. Why have
everyone in every country at this point?
Yeah. They are going into it.
Yeah.
But it's just slow. But, you know, they're a company with billions and billions in the bank, so they can faff about. But who cares about Nintendo? The Pokemon thing, good idea. Well done. About time.
We approve. We don't always approve Nintendo, but on this occasion, we approve. Now, this is something I don't approve of, because I don't see the point. I think it's bloody stupid, but it's going to be good for a laugh to talk about it. This is the news that Ubisoft, or Ubisoft, however you wish to pronounce it, is building a tiny indoor theme park in Malaysia.
Ubisoft? Where the fuck does that
honestly
come from?
I've heard people not only call it that, but also tell me that I'm wrong for saying Ubi.
No. It's Ubi, because on the E3 press conference, everybody from Ubisoft came out and pronounced it Ubisoft. Even that, you know, the comedian they have on stage.
Yes.
She's American. She was calling it Ubisoft as well. They would have been briefed properly. And then you see other people calling it Ubisoft. They don't even call it that themselves. It's Ubisoft. It's a U. It's not an oo, you bastards. And Ubi, whatever the hell you just said, I don't even know where we're going with this.
Well, where Ubisoft are going is to Malaysia. So if you're excited about Nintendo's deal to put its characters in Universal theme parks, chew on this. The publisher behind games like Assassin's Creed, Just Dance, and Raving Rabbids is building its own amusement park.
Great. Great. Hang on, it's building its own amusement park.
They've partnered with RSG, a Malaysian park developer, to create a 100,000+ square foot indoor facility in Kuala Lumpur, featuring Ubisoft-themed rides, attractions, and shows.
What the fuck?
Although they do point out, don't expect a Disneyland for video games, though. The proposed park's footprint is small enough to fit inside a Walmart, Target, or Home Depot, which, if you're in England, is basically a Tesco, a Asda, or a B&Q. Can a theme park survive on the power of third-party video game franchises alone? We'll find out in 2020. I'm going to guess no. Primarily because not once while I've playing... Well, say I never stopped liking Assassin's Creed. Say I didn't get turned off by Assassin's Creed 3. I kept playing them. I was still a massive fan. I still really liked them. Not once, I don't think, would I ever have sat there and gone, you know what, Assassin's Creed is all very good, but what I really need is a roller coaster with Assassin's Creed written on it. I think that's the next step. Like, that's easily the next thing. I mean, look, what about Watch Dogs? Watch Dogs, obviously it was a pile of garbage when it came out, but people still liked it. Like 4 people, they liked it. I don't think any of them were sat there going, I want a Watch Dogs carousel. I want to sit on a a Watch Dogs police car and go round and round in a circle.
Actually, let's think about rides they could have. They've got to have a pirate ship, and it's got to be fucking Assassin's Creed 4 black flag, but fucking pirate ship.
Yeah, the one that goes.
Yeah.
So,
if they don't have that, I mean, what are they doing?
What the fuck would they do for Far Cry? A small zoo where you get attacked by all the animals.
Yeah, like you sit in like a little replica safari thing, and it's sort of good. I don't know, bloke. So hang on. So we've got a little replica zoo for Far Cry,
except you have to be attacked by the animals.
Yeah, but they're like animatronic, really shit animals. Like they've been built and they look terrible. You've got the pirate ship.
Oh shit! I've just had an amazing idea. You could do an Assassin's Creed Unity haunted house, where animatronics with their faces missing jump out at you.
If they did that, I'd go there. The Division. I don't know what they get. Rainbow Six could be some sort of light gun thing.
Ball of mirrors.
This is terrible.
I don't know. I don't understand it at all.
I've googled, bloke. I've googled because I've heard talk about Malaysia and the way that for some reason people like to build strange theme parks there. And I submit Exhibit A, the Angry Birds theme park, is apparently in Malaysia.
That's not a thing, is it? Angry Birds,
apparently
a whole theme park.
Oh, link it, bloke, if you want it. You want it, boy?
Yeah, no, send it me over.
Send it you, boy. Here it is, boy.
What?
Hey, look, Angry Birds. So that was interesting.
Let me switch over to the desktop here so people can see this. This is...
I don't understand.
Well, this is genuinely mental. I don't understand why you'd go there.
Yeah, but why would you go to a Ubisoft one? This is even more ridiculous. Like, I can't... I do not understand where they... unless this is really cheap. Like, I mean, Malaysia, it must be fairly cheap to build stuff there compared to, like, other places in the world.
This is the shittest theme park I've ever seen in my life, this Angry Birds thing.
Yeah, it is shit, innit? Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Kirioth, but last time I looked at a fucking globe, Malaysia was in Asia, miles and miles away from France, where Ubisoft is. And also, correct me if I'm wrong again, but all of Ubisoft's bullshit, and when I say bullshit, I mean franchises, games, and God knows what, are for Western audiences, are they not? Assassin's Creed takes place in the West. Where the hell does the other shit games take place? In the West, most of it. Why would you have a theme park in Malaysia?
I'm pretty sure...
Do they have a massive fan base?
Well, no, I'm pretty sure that what's going on is... I think Malaysia is one of the fastest growing economies in the world at the moment. I'm sure I've heard that somewhere. I've just done a quick... Mind you, it would take a lot to... it would take more than a swift Google to double check it, but I'm pretty sure that they are well on their way to becoming like a properly rich country. And I think a lot... Maybe it is something to do with like incentives or something. Maybe it's a case of you can build this stuff there. Like there's kind of, there might be like government funding or stuff available to grow the economy, to increase tourism, to increase trade, stuff like that. Like maybe they're pushing the tourism angle really hard. So they've got these crazy things like an Angry Bird theme park and, you know, Ubisoft's B&Q theme park, whatever it turns out being. I'm pretty sure that it's actually quite strong now, or at least it didn't used to be, and it's a lot better than it was. So maybe that's what it is. But as you say, it's like, even if that was the case, personally, I'm not going to go to Malaysia to go to the Ubisoft theme park. I don't think anyone is going to travel specifically to go to something like that. Is it a big gamer country?
Malaysia's nothing, bloke. Malaysia's poor.
I thought they had quite a bit of money now. I thought
it's not. It's like
there we go. It's
not that good. No, I don't, it can't be because of that. It cannot be because of that. I mean, if it is just for the local people, right? It is. Right, we need to increase our profits. Boss, I know what we'll do. We'll build a little theme park that's about the size of a crappy little Tesco in Malaysia, because we'll make some money off that. It's like, what? Even if Malaysia was some sort of super rich upcoming place,
well, it looks like actually, even if it's not that bad.
Why would you even do it anyway? Yeah, but why would you even do that anyway?
I don't know. I don't know.
You wouldn't even do it in this country, wouldn't it? I mean, imagine. I can understand Legoland, bloke. I can understand Legoland because that's a good idea. I can understand Disneyland because it's a good idea. I can understand Tank World, because that's a fucking amazing idea, or Tank Fest, or whatever it's fucking called. Digger World, where you can just dig. That is like the best thing ever. Just dig, yeah. But Ubisoft, it's just hell. Do you remember the Blizzard park that got ripped off in China, where somebody just built a Blizzard park? I mean, Blizzard. If Blizzard built a park somewhere, that would probably be acceptable, right? Because it'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense, because they've got these like franchises that they've developed. They're a company. They've developed. Ubisoft. It'd be like EA World. You know, like EA Land. Welcome to EA Land, where welcome to the DLC. Behind the scenes in the DLC office, and then they'd show that video we made on the channel a couple of years ago, where it was like the DLC for SimCity. Like, I just cannot fathom whether this will. I don't want to say it'll lose them money, because I don't know what the economic situation is in that country and whether this is viable. Because I doubt they've just sat there and gone, yeah, that's a good idea, do it. They've obviously looked at some sort of financial report and gone, okay, well maybe this will be okay. But Malaysia. But Ubisoft theme park? But why? I mean, what the hell is Rabid Rabbits? What the fuck is that? I don't even know what that is.
That's
I
like
see
a kids
everybody
game,
from Ubisoft.
Is it?
Skylanders is a kids game. That's what I see everywhere. And Minecraft, not fucking Rancid Rabbits, whatever it's called. Christ, so bad. They are delusional motherfuckers, and that is my professional opinion on building a theme park when you're a publisher who doesn't develop any of their own bastard games. And well, they might do. I mean, no, they do have their own teams, but look, listen.
It's like I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this, and it's like nowhere does it say Malaysia is particularly known for its tourism for mental theme parks. It's like okay, so actually looking at this, third richest in Southeast Asia, economy one of the most competitive in the world, ranking 14th. Yeah, but they're not dirt poor. But at the same time, it's like even if this was like I don't know, Dubai or somewhere. No fucker's going to go there. No one's going to go.
Okay, no one's in Dubai, because it would just be like, oh, they're off the face and they're building the thing there, whatever.
I don't understand. I don't get it. It's just crazy. It's like you can kind of see it in Europe. Like I could kind of see something like that in Europe, not based off a single publisher. It would require. I think you could conceivably do a video game theme park, but if it was by one publisher, it would be a bit shit because it's just one publisher's IP.
This country, according to a finance magazine I'm reading it says that they're the 120th for a gross GDP per capita. So like each person earns. That does not translate to 14th best economy. Although these figures could be bullshit from either side. Who knows?
I'm just going from Wikipedia.
So I'm just throwing figures all over the place.
There's probably some financial advisor listening to this going, the fuck are you talking about? I never claimed to be right. I only claimed that it could be something to do with that, because I was sure that they used to be terrible and now they're not so terrible. But yeah, it's a really bizarre move, and it doesn't make any sense no matter which way you look at it. It's not going to be something massive. So if it was huge, then maybe you could see people making a trip to see it. But the size of like a Tesco, no one's going to go and see that. Secondly, it's one publisher.
Like a comedy sideshow.
And what are the attractions going to be? If it is only 100,000 square feet, what can you fit into that space that would make it worth going to? Like, genuinely.
Well, you definitely ain't getting the pirate ship in there.
If you go to Alton Towers, like one roller coaster...
You die, bloke, and get your legs smashed in.
Do you know what? Something that's really bad. My wife pointed this out to me the other day. She got some cereal the other day, and there's a thing on the back, and it's like free tickets for adults, like fun for adults this summer.
Yeah.
This winter, I think it was. And there are different places around the UK that you could get a free ticket to if you went as an adult, and you went with another adult and a child at least. And one of them was Alton Towers, and it says you can have an amazing time. I think it's something like the UK's #1. Like whatever it is, theme park, Alton Towers, with many exciting rides, and the picture was Smiler, and it had a picture of a woman with a massive grin on her face, and it said Smiler in it in massive letters. And I was like, that doesn't look like fun to me. I mean, getting your legs cut off, not fun. That's
well, not just any kind of getting your legs cut off. It's getting your legs pulped at the knee joint by the safety bar.
I just saw it and I was like, they didn't think to recall that. I mean, that's quite a well-known ride now, and not down to the whole kind of I want to have fun. More like the I'm never going to go on a roller coaster as long as I live, in case my legs come off. That's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah,
listen, right? I'm looking at games that Ubisoft have got, right? So they've got For Honor, right? That's coming out. South Park, Tom Clancy's The Division, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, Tom Clancy's Face, Tom Clancy's Arm,
If you could fight people for real at their theme park, For Honor style, I'd do it.
I know 20,000 coming out. Assassin's Creed Identity, Assassin's Creed Chronicles, Assassin's Creed Syndicate. What are these Assassin's Creed games? Driver Speedboat Paradise, Grow Home, Just Dance, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, Toy Soldiers War Chest, Trackmania Turbo, Assassin's Creed Rogue, Unity. Oh, we're getting into 2014 now. Child of Light, whatever, and whatever. So they don't. I don't know. It's fucking stupid. Chat, viewers, people, whoever you are, what do you think of this?
It's just. I think you can probably tell what we think of it, but what do you think of it? Just mental. On to something slightly less mental and entirely expected.
I'm still reeling from this thing. I don't know what
to
so stupid.
Maybe that I feel like
maybe we're stupid. Maybe it is a gold mine. Maybe it's like, boys, we've built this park and it's got crap attractions in, but it makes millions of dollars because we've got a massive load of footfall coming through the door because they're hardcore Ubisoft fans in fucking Malaysia.
See, this is the thing.
South Asian region.
I'm now wondering whether actually we're idiots. Like, it seems like such an insane plan, such a stupid idea. Like, it just seems so moronic that I'm now thinking to myself, they must know something that we just don't know. Like, we're judging it. We're judging it because we think that it's stupid, but it's such a stupid idea that I don't see how anyone could look at it with any sort of facts and figures and do it unless there was some kind of, like, really major upside. Like, it's got to be worth doing, hasn't it? Or they wouldn't do it. Surely. I mean, I know they're terrible at releasing games that work. Well, they have been. They might not be anymore. But they're not. Ubisoft aren't actually idiots, are they?
Can we go into other terrible money decisions? Use that as like a little segue. There you go. It's your next bit.
What? This counts as a terrible money decision? I was going to go on to Destiny.
No. Go on to...
Are we talking something to do with tribes here? Are we talking tribes?
We're talking Grey Goo, £75,000 on a basic tournament.
I'd forgotten about that.
We'll quickly talk about that.
I'd blocked that out of my mind. Sorry. Yeah. So...
Well, let me introduce Mr. Kirioth. So there's a Grey Goo. This is Petroglyph, and this is an RTS game that I really enjoyed. Came out earlier on in the year, and as most RTS games do, they just die because nobody plays the multiplayer because I just think the genre is dead for competitive multiplayer. StarCraft is where it is if you want to go. But even StarCraft is, like, that isn't my favourite kind of RTS game. I prefer, like, Supreme Commander and whatever. Sure, you can still play, like, Forged Alliance Forever and games like that, and you can play Active Aggression, but you need to play them with your friends. You can't really just go on and click play and find a game. You can in StarCraft, but you can't really do that in any other RTS. Anyway, Grey Goo, I enjoyed it, made a video. I think it got about 100,000 views, not blowing my own trumpet, but it was a fucking beautiful video. Me and Kieran made a video together, probably about 30,000 views. Anyway, moving on. So we did our part for the game. I thought it was pretty good.
I enjoyed it.
It was pretty expensive though, but it was pretty good. And I don't mind paying for that kind of experience because I enjoy that type of classic kind of less focus on micro, more focus on spamming loads of units out and no unit caps. Although I think Grey Goo did have a unit cap. Anyway, but it was fairly high, I think. Right. $75,000 tournament. I think it's at PAX somewhere, is it?
PAX South.
PAX South. Winner gets $10,000. Why are they wasting $75,000 on this when I performed an experiment today? I went onto Grey Goo and I clicked 1v1 ranked matchmaking. I waited for 20 minutes. In fact, it was about 21 minutes. It found a game. Put me into a game against a guy playing as Goo. So I thought, fair play. I'll try and play. You know, my skill is not going to be the greatest because I've not obviously been playing it intensively. I was the beta. These are like the alien guys, kind of like the industrial sort of. You know, they're like the standard faction that you get like in. They're like the Terrans from StarCraft, where you just got like standard infantry and then tanks and whatever. And I'm playing the game, building some units. He comes to harass me with a bit of goo. I take out his goo. I go and counterattack him. He beats my counterattack, and then he just wipes me out. And I'm like, okay. Game lasted about 7 minutes, which is pretty quick. And I wouldn't say it was a rush, but it felt it didn't feel like I was spammed with 100 units or whatever, but like in StarCraft, it can feel like a rush. But I think StarCraft, because it's just so like, you're spamming all the keys all the time. Anyway, guy beat me, fair enough. I looked at his profile. I looked at the worldwide ranking table to see where this guy was. He was ranked 21, I think he was ranked 21. I'm like, so the game, after 20 minutes of searching, has put me, an unranked player, against a rank 21 guy.
That is the sign of a game that is not surviving.
No. What this is, you know what? It's like a little microcosm of there's probably 100 players that play the game, and they probably know each other, and that's it. And when an idiot like me turns up, it's like, haha, 3 points for me on the ladder because this guy don't know how to play the game. Because and then you get into other problems. But I want to talk about this more on podcast. But other problems with like, it becomes impossible for a new player to actually get into the game, even if they're like me. I'm not shit at RTS games, but it would be impossible because you're basically playing against master level players all the time. And if you're like Silver League, like to use a StarCraft comparison, it's going to be impossible. Mr. Kirioth, anyway, this $75,000. I want to know why they didn't spend this on actual advertising instead of I believe they think this is advertising because esports is hot shit. I tell you now, as a YouTube professor of magic, you should have spent that money on branded promotional deals on YouTube. You should have gone out and got loads of branded deals for that, and then just got more eyes on the game, more sales, more people playing, and then doing esports tournaments, but for like $1,000, not $75,000. Are you joking me?
They're trying to make an esport out of a game that's got a minuscule community that currently only plays against each other. Like, it's not going to draw anyone new in. It's not going to make people go.
I know. I'm interrupting. I'm sorry, but I've hung around this community a little bit more than you have, and they stream on their channel and they get like 20 viewers, and I'm like, this is for real. They paid that Canadian StarCraft 2 player. Shit, I don't know his name. He plays Protoss. I don't know whether you might remember his name because he was like an old player. He's like a small geezer, and he used to be for EG. And he played Protoss.
Was Idra in EG? Yeah, he was.
Yeah, but he was Zerg.
Oh yeah, he was, wasn't he?
It don't matter. But that guy, and they paid him, and he'd be like tweeting out about it. Oh, I'm doing a stream. I'm streaming Grey Goo, and you go to his stream, and there'd be like 100 viewers. It's like, what the hell? This guy's like a dead StarCraft 2 celebrity. He's not somebody like. There's only a select number of those people around now because StarCraft 2's audience has dropped. So why you pay this guy to turn up and start playing your game is beyond me. But it seems really weird. Like, the game must have made money if they're throwing money at it like this, but it's just so delusional. It's just weird. Anyway, let's get off this subject because it's just weird. And I think it's stupid, guys.
It doesn't make any sense at all. It is not a good use of the money. It's not going to promote the game. It's not going to make people excited to play the game. It's just going to be... The only people who will benefit from it are the people who actually choose to participate. And with all the... like that one, he sound like an arsehole. It's great for them. Not good for the game, not good for the publisher, because they will gain nothing from it. They'll just lose 75 grand, and someone will walk away with the money, and they won't get anything in return.
It's probably somebody just sitting there going, I really enjoy esports, probably a big fan of StarCraft. The game we've made could be just like StarCraft, which it could be, but it doesn't have the audience. But it doesn't matter anyway. I really want to do it. It's a labour of love. Let's do it, guys. Yeah, and then they've done it. They've just wasted money. Yeah. Waste.
Well, this is the big update. 2.0 for Destiny is now live. Now, I've got a slight problem with this, right? And I think it's come down to something that I've realised. There's all kinds of things. Dinklebot's gone. There's now Northbot because it's what's his name? Nolan North is now doing the word.
Yeah,
the word
speaking. Man of every fucking game effort. The word speaking. You sound like you're from the bloody.
I can't remember what it was.
Dad,
voice acting. That's the
yeah.
That's the phrase.
This was years and years ago. But my dad I went with my dad to see a bloke about buying a what was it? It was like I think it was like a cement mixer or something. He said to me, "Do you want to come and like have a look at this?" I was like, "Yeah, all right then." So I went up with him to this place, and this guy was really old, like really old. He was like about 80. He had like a really old wife, and he comes out. He lived in, I don't know, like, but he lived in a big posh house, like. And we pulled up. We went into his garage, and there's this like cement mixer, and my dad was like, "It looks in good condition. It was hardly used, and whatever." And the guy's like, "One moment, sir. Let me let me just get the book of words. And I was like,
the book of words.
The book of words. What's this? Well, he meant the manual, didn't he? But he called it the book of words. So now we always call manuals the book of words. It's so funny. It's like you got the book of words. It's just stupid. But there you go. That's like old timey wordy speak. Book of words. As if there'd be any other. Well, I suppose it could be a pop-up picture.
The book of pictures. You let me get the book of like the worst instruction manual ever. It would in fact just be like the instruction manuals you get with Warhammer 40k kits. Here's the model. By the way, stick those 4 pieces together. What order? We're not going to tell you. Get the fuck out.
Just work it out.
Make it up. If you get it wrong, then buy a new model.
Buy another kit.
Cost another 30 quid.
30? So, what year are you from? 60?
Yeah, I do apologise. I saw something on Reddit the other day where someone was like, the 40k refers to how much you have to spend to get an entry into the hobby.
Yeah, fucking hell. Christ.
So, yeah, this is Destiny's big 2.0 patch is live, which is, it's like just before, isn't it, the Taken King drops. And they've got all
it doesn't come out like next week or something.
Yeah. So it's all like the preparation stuff for the Taken King. And there's all kind of nerfs and buffs for weapons, and Northbot has taken over the speaking of the words from Dinklebot. And there's added PvP maps with the expansion stuff in it. I downloaded the update. It only took 10 lunar cycles.
Yeah.
Because for some reason the PS4 doesn't know how to download updates in a timely fashion.
Have you seen, like, if you stop it and then start it again,
I did.
Sometimes it can be way faster. It's that weird.
It told me 24 hours, and I was like, for 18 gig, I don't think so. I paused it and started it again, and it told me 50 hours, and I was like, well,
fucking hell,
this is going bad. So I did it again, and then it took 20 minutes. So, just keep trying.
But just imagine the poor people who sit there and start the download, and it's like 80 hours remaining or something, and they're like, oh, well, I best not touch it because it might make it longer, so they just leave it. That is gutting. I bet console peasants would do that.
Oh, yeah, I bet they do. I bet they just sit there and wait for it. Just wait and wait and wait.
Just stare at the screen.
Growing really long beards. Start wasting away because I just sat there watching it.
Drooling.
It'll arrive one day. This is the problem I've got. I logged into the game. I had a look around. A load of people were already level 34. I don't know whether that's because they can already use the free boost that you get from the Taken King, or whether the way the leveling has been changed meant that they could then somehow get to level 34 really quickly.
Isn't this something? Yeah, isn't this if they had high light level on their gear, didn't that just translate them into their level?
I think it did just translate it into the level.
Yeah,
I've still got light gear on my gear, but light level on my gear. But
what it means now, the light gear, the light level, the number you get, it refers to how hard the difficulty of the encounters you can do. So if it's like 100, if you're like 120, but the encounter is 250, then you're going to get killed because they're too hard for you. That's I think how the difficulty works now. It's not dependent on your character level, is it anymore? Because everyone just gets to the top level and that's it.
Yeah, because the top level will be 40, which is when that'll go up to 40 on the 9th. No, the 15th of the 9th, which is when the Taken King actually drops. I was looking through all the patch notes. I'd logged into the game. I was wandering about. I was like, oh, maybe I'll do a strike or something. All the patch notes make me want to play the game again. They make me want to try Destiny again, because it's like, it feels like it's got a bit simpler. There's not as much faffing around with kind of like, oh, light levels mean it is a level, but it's not really a level because your level is actually this level, blah, 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 all that stuff. It was confusing and convoluted for no reason. Like the idea of like new classes and there being like changes to the stats and stuff, it looks like something I want to play. But when I logged into Destiny, I was running around. I think I want to play it until I actually get to the point of playing it. And then it's like, how much really is it going to change? I don't think it is it? It's not going to change. It's always going to be the same gameplay, pretty much, because, well, what else can they do? It's an FPS game. You can't introduce too much mad shit, otherwise it will stop being the game that it's supposed to be. The strikes and stuff, the idea of new strikes, and the idea of maybe getting into a raid or something in the future, I kind of like that idea. At the same time, I can't help but feel that we'll get the expansion, boost up to the appropriate level, because the expansion comes with a boost for a new or established character. Do a strike or something, and immediately be like, oh look, it's a strike, and I'm running around in circles being chased by the boss again, which is exactly what happened last time I played Destiny, and is going to happen every time I do a strike from here until the day I die. I don't actually feel as though it's going to add that much to the game for anyone who isn't already like hardcore addicted to Destiny. Like, I like the
which
idea
is
of
a lot of
playing it
people.
again.
Yeah, I
It is
know,
a lot
which
of
is a
people,
lot
but
of
it's
people.
like I want to get into the game again, but at the same time, when I look at it kind of, I guess, sensibly, it's like, what really am I going to gain that I couldn't already have got from Destiny before the Taken King? It's like, what really is going to be different, or like,
the only thing that's going to be different is the gear. Really, it's just different gear, and that's it. Like the game, like I got a question. I don't know whether you know the answer to this, but how long is it going to take to level? Like, if you started a new character without the boost or any of that shit, I can't imagine it's going to take very long, is it, to get to the top level?
I wouldn't have thought so, and people have been going mental because you can actually skip cutscenes now, which will shorten the time dramatically. Because before, when you started a new character, you had to go through all the crap of listening to Dinklebot talk nonsense at you every single time, and you couldn't skip any of it. And apparently now you can just skip it. It's like you get a stupid cutscene. It's like, yeah, I've already seen this. I've already seen this portion of the 5 minutes of story that the game spreads out into apparently
nonsensical, super
1,000
bland
hours.
Fucking... I mean, even the expansion, Taken King. Oh.
The thing is, there was an article which I didn't put up for Hotfix, but we can talk about it briefly now because it didn't actually contain any details, so it seemed pointless, kind of trying to speculate. But there was an article where it talks about how the story for Destiny was dramatically different. Like, it was, and then it was changed a lot. Then they canned it and ended up that was apparently what the big delay was. It was they changed up the entire story. I just want to know, was the original story...
And wasn't it a third-person game? Like, it was a third-person game for over a year as well in development, and they just changed it. They were like, no, it's going to be an FPS game now.
Yeah, I want to know, was the story that they scrapped in any way even slightly more descriptive or interesting than whatever it is?
Like, when you look at Destiny as a thing, the story is so terrible. Like, you've got this...
It really is.
I know it's an FPS console game, but the shooting aspect of it is still pretty good, even for a console game. Yeah. It looks nice, but it's 30 FPS. It does the loot well. It does all of this like endless grind for shit well. It knows how to play you as a player to make you keep coming back. But then it's, why are you there? Like, all you know, I mean, this is what I've gathered from it, is the planet has got this thing called the Traveler, which I remember the years leading up to Destiny, they had the pitch, didn't they, of the Traveler. It's like, wow, look at this big ball. Looks crazy. Like, where's that come from? Yeah. But apparently that's just some sort of thing on the planet which gives you this sanctuary where you can sort of carry on living your life, and it empowers the Guardians, which are the players, to go out and kill all of these enemies which have come from somewhere.
Say what
but
it
we
is,
don't know.
From what I know,
no, it's like we don't understand what any of this is. We don't know what's going on. But fuck it, who cares? We're just here to kill shit and get loot, and that's what nobody's playing Destiny for the story. It's like, you know, like Diablo. Nobody's really playing Diablo right now for the story, but a lot of people did play Diablo for the story. As shit as it was still a story. You're still going through fighting bosses, iconic stuff happens, and whatever. Destiny is just like, what? I mean, when it even starts and you're in the Cosmodrome, aren't you? In Russia, and you just see other people running around the map just doing those random like objectives. It doesn't even feel like you're on like it feels like it has no story. It's just like, okay, I'm in just like a multiplayer world and I can just run around and do whatever. I don't know. I mean, as far as the update goes, for me, I've downloaded it. I haven't loaded it up, but I will do just to mess around on it. I think I'm in the same boat as you, where I just end up thinking to myself, this is kind of, well, saying it's boring is maybe a bit offensive to it, but
I don't think it's boring. I just think it's repetitive.
Like you're doing anything of note. You're just faffing about, but then is that any different to like World of Warcraft or whatever? Yeah.
I think the difference for me is that I haven't played World of Warcraft for about a week now because I got like massively sidetracked with Mad Max. But it's like I don't get that same feeling of, I guess, bullet sponge, or this thing's just got loads of health because it's got loads of health from like WoW than I do from Destiny.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any encounter I can think of off the top of my head in World of Warcraft that has you running around a small cave repeatedly, stopping once per cycle to turn and shoot the boss, but then running away again so that he doesn't hit you and just one shot you. I can't think of an encounter that really
I
works.
think that's just a problem with changing the like MMO mechanics and putting them into an FPS thing. And that's why there's no other way of doing that. I mean, but Destiny does have some. The Vault of Glass. I've seen videos of that when that was done, and that is not simple. That is quite difficult. There's a lot of like crazy mechanics in that, where you're having to like stand in certain areas and like fire at certain things at certain times and all of this stuff, and it's like fucking hell, that looks really good. Like that does look really good. That looks like a proper raid.
That side
but
of stuff
when you look at the strikes, but the strikes in the game are just like you say, they're just like a fucking bullet sponge. I mean, I've seen a video that Destiny did a stream of something brothers, they were called. They were like a strike boss, and it was two bosses this time, and one of them like rushes you with a shield and slams you, and the other one's got like a massive gun, and they're like running around, and that looked pretty good. Like that didn't look shit because there was two enemies now, and the group were getting like smashed about by like somebody's trying to get the attention of them while the rest are shooting them. That looked better, so we'll have to see. But Destiny, I wish it was on PC, then I probably would play it a shitload, which I always say about Destiny.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to give it a try, and I am kind of looking forward to taking King, but I just don't think it's going to last very long for me, honestly. I don't think it's something I'm going to put a huge amount of time into, because I think I will play it, and I'll be like, this is pretty good. And then I'll get the same strike, like, twice in a row, or I'll come across a strike, and it's like, it is just the bullet sponge scenario where you're not really in that much danger, because let's face it, there's quite a few strikes we've played that are like that, where you're not really, provided you're not standing out in the open like an idiot, and just inviting to get shot by the boss, you're not going to die. You're just not going to die.
Well, when I play it, I get prone to doing stupid things because it's so stupid. Like it's so easy, like you say, you're just standing behind cover and shooting stuff like that boss. You know, with the shield that rotates around.
What's this? And you get the Nexus.
Nexus something. Yeah, you get the big groups of monsters that spawn, don't you, behind you, the goblin guys. Yeah. And like, you know, really, you should be incoming soon. No, I just run into them and just like shooting them because it's like, I'm getting bored because I'm just shooting the boss and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, and then I just want to do something crazy. And then that's really the only time you die. I mean, you can... whatever, Destiny. Destiny, ladies and gentlemen. Let me be your Destiny!
Destiny should know. On to another FPS. I cannot believe that we're actually saying this, but here we go. Surprise! Tribes Ascend is getting an update. Yeah, why? We don't know. So, in July 2013, Hi-Rez co-founder Todd Harris said that the studio was going to take a 6-month break from updating free-to-play shooter Tribes Ascend so they could focus on SMITE. Fast forward more than 2 years, and the studio surprised us with patch notes for a new update this month. So, among other changes, we know from the preliminary patch notes that this upgrade includes a new capture the flag map, terminus, class changes, e.g. that all have been condensed to 3 choices, light, medium, and heavy, and other tweaks. So they're going to release
like the old Tribes is like that.
So they're going to release version 1.1 for public testing around September 14th. Why? They've not really answered the question. Like, someone appeared on the subreddit. So it's a guy called McBride, and he was the art director in 2006, and until last month that's what he did. But he is now in the creative director role for Tribes, and he said that I oversee development and set the new direction for Tribes Ascend revitalization project. I'm passionate about Tribes, and with a high level of involvement with community, we intend to move the game in a direction that works for everyone. The thing is, the game has been abandoned for 2 years. It was not in a good state when it was abandoned either. I seem to remember they had some fairly serious issues with hacking. They had a very interesting method of releasing updates and guns, which was to make the guns as OP as possible so that people bought them. So then everyone bought the same gun, and the actual way the game played was like drastically affected. To come back after 2 years, and also they've gone to great pains to point out that the reason they stopped supporting Tribes Ascend was because it didn't make any money. It was not a profitable game for them. They broke even. They couldn't continue existing just doing Tribes. And SMITE was like, SMITE is the moneymaker. It still is the moneymaker. It's what their company is, I guess, is what their company is most known for now. Over Tribes is SMITE, because SMITE has got a relatively big player base and shifts a lot. I say a lot of copies, but you know what I mean. It's got a decent player base, and it does a lot in microtransactions. So why the hell would you come back to, like, what is basically an abandoned game 2 years later that wasn't making you any money when you chose to abandon it? I just don't understand this move at all. The only thing I can possibly think is that they have some sort of plan or some sort of idea to make Tribes profitable. Like they're taking what they've learned from
making
SMITE.
another FPS game. Hang on, aren't they making another FPS game?
Yeah, they're making a
Paladins or something like that.
Yeah, Paladin. It's kind of like it's like a Overwatch style game, but that's not
okay.
Well, at the moment, every game, every FPS that gets announced is sort of like an Overwatch style game.
I was saying that on Twitter. I was like, because there was that the one from Cliff, what's his face, and it's like, oh, here we go. It's Law Breakers or something like that. It's like, oh, here we go, another fucking Overwatch game. But then, really, like these games have been in development while Overwatch has been in development, and Overwatch just sort of announced first. And Overwatch really is just an evolution of Team Fortress 2, just more of a focus on the class, like. Team Fortress 2. No, I'm not going to compare them. I'm not qualified to do it. But the Overwatch comparison will always be made. So here we go. Why would you do Tribes Ascend? I think Tribes. So they had Global Agenda, which was crap. Then they made Tribes, which did okay. Yeah, Tribes got quite a lot of people interested. Like, it had a lot of big YouTubers picked it up. I really enjoyed playing Tribes.
It did well critically as well.
Yeah, because it was just like the old Tribes. It was like, they've got the skiing down. They've got a lot of all the mechanics. It's great. And then when they started to monetize the game aggressively, and there was hacking all over the place. There was the plasma thing, which was just OP as shit. And there was all kinds of other shit. Then, as a last-ditch attempt to try and make money out of the game, what they did was they said, you know what, guys? If you pay 20 quid, you can just have everything. We'll just let you unlock everything. So, right, okay. If you did do that, although you could still play the game free to play, obviously, you're still playing on servers that are infested with hackers, and it's just like totally shit. It was a really crap experience. And then SMITE came out of nowhere, and they just stopped support. They didn't come out and say the game isn't making no money. We're not going to carry on. They
waited a long time before they did that, but eventually it was like, oh well, this is why we did it. And it's like, well, that's great, but you're telling us a year and a half after the event. Like, they said it was going to be 6 months, and as it says in the article, it's now been 2 years. That's a long time to leave a game unsupported and then to come back to it.
Well, I think the only reason they've come back to it is sort of like, guys, we do have quite a bit of cash now, so we can do a little bit with Tribes. We don't want to just leave it out in the open. It's almost like a goodwill gesture. It's like, hey, here's Tribes. So
can you even fix that? Because the people who played Tribes were understandably unhappy about the way the game was left. They're not just going to go, oh, well, I mean, you left it hanging for 2 years, and the game's been infested with hackers since, and there's been no support whatsoever, and you've just completely ignored us as a community. But I mean, now you're doing something great. It doesn't work like that. That's not how the internet works. That's not how people work. You can't just go, well, I know it's been 2 years, but have an update. People are just going to go, yeah, I'm not playing this game anymore, because who's to say after this update you won't just piss off for another 2 years? Especially those people that spent, a load of money on it. They've just ignored them for a long time. I mean, the other thing as well is that 2 years kind of, I'm emphasizing 2 years because in some ways 2 years isn't that much of a long time, but in the gaming industry 2 years is a hell of a long time. A lot can happen in 2 years. I mean, just think of the number of games that have been released since. Look at the number of games you have to choose from in terms of free to play that have cropped up in the last 2 years. Look at what Blizzard's been doing. Look at Overwatch. Look at Heroes of the Storm. That's just one company. A lot can change.
Maybe that's an idea. Maybe this is why sort of gets them out there again. It's like, oh yeah, we are working on an FPS and we are supporting an FPS and we've got a new FPS. Maybe it's again just some sort of like marketing thing where it's like, oh yeah, we've updated it because we're talking about it now. News sites will pick it up, and then it's like, oh yeah, they're making this other FPS game. Because I mean, Tribes Ascend, it did get the Tribes gameplay down. It got the surfing down perfectly.
I really enjoyed it. I'm not a big FPS guy, and I really enjoyed Tribes. I mean, I played it a lot. But the thing is, I don't look at this and think, awesome, I'm going to go and play Tribes again. I just don't think that because, well, there's other games out. I mean, they're not like Tribes, but it's been 2 years since the last time anyone tried to compel me to play the game. And the news of an update and a new map is not making me immediately think, oh yeah, I'll better dive straight back in, because that's just, I just don't think that's how it works for a lot of people. I don't think like we'd be alone.
People have been burnt. Yeah, I mean, people have been burnt, but like, I mean, if you get burnt, you don't really tend to go back unless something crazy happens.
Yeah,
and then I mean, like look at Batman. Batman has supposedly got a patch now, which makes it playable. It's still not meant to be that good, but it's still playable. I haven't even loaded it up though, and I really want to play that game. I don't even care.
Yeah,
I don't think I even downloaded the patch.
I'm not even. I wonder if that's going to be one of the.
Told Steam to stop it. Yeah.
I wonder if that's going to be one of the first kind of big casualties of the Steam refund system. Because we said at the time that it was like there's a reason they're doing this.
But it already is.
But that's what I mean. It's like I think it's going to be the first one where it's like they tried to fix it, but unfortunately they've waited far too long. They've waited far too long for that.
It doesn't matter. Like they have waited too long, but they didn't do anything. You know, when I said like why didn't they just give away a copy of the Batman film, or one of the Batman films, or something to say, oh, we're sorry, but it's like other people pointed out in the comments, quite rightly so, and said that would be an admission of defeat, like they've done something wrong. So of course they're not going to do that. They're just like, fuck you, here's the patch. Anyway, fuck them. Tribes Ascend, it's getting support now. So if you're a fan of it, then check it out.
Just don't get too attached. That's all I'd recommend. Don't get too.
I don't think there's much danger of support stopping now it's restarted for the game, because they do have a game that's a big winner in the form of SMITE.
And I think that would be not like extra disastrous if they announced the Tribes Revitalization project and it turned out to be one patch and then they just pissed off and did something else. That would be really damaging for their reputation. And you don't want to damage your reputation when you're trying to push a brand new game, especially something along the lines of Paladin, which will be competing with something like Overwatch. So, yeah. So we're going to move on to it is kind of funny, but it's not funny for the people who are affected. So Game, right, it's a place in the UK. It's a store in the UK that sells games, funnily enough, and games consoles.
Wow, what a name they've got, bloke.
It's highly imaginative. And
do you remember when we went into Game? Bloke, do you remember this was some time ago? We went in and there was no PC game. Like shelf. It was just gone.
Yeah, it was just,
and it was just like a wall of Call of Duty 2 or whatever the hell those are.
Yeah, that was because there were two
Modern Warfare 2
in near where I live. There were two games at the same time. There was a small crap one, and there was a bigger, slightly less crap one. And
the two,
yeah. The one down the bottom of the town.
It was just down the road. What was the point of
it was
this?
on the same. It was on the same high street and everything. The bigger one did have a PC game section, but it was a wall that was like the width of a 42-inch TV, and that was it. That was the entire PC game section, and you had everything in there from brand new releases all the way down to those classic gold collection.
Like
republishes.
Like Half-Life 1 and shit.
So you'd have it's usually The Sims at the top because it was The Sims. And then at the bottom, you'd be like, Diablo 2 with expansion, the gold collection or whatever. And it's like, fucking hell, boys. What are you doing? Terrible. So Game, which are terrible for PC games, they had a slight issue, bloke. A slight problem. People were excited about Mario Maker, Super Mario Maker. And so they did what people excited about games do. They ordered one. They ordered it from Game. And then someone checked their email address, their email inbox. And they're like, what's all this about? It would appear Game has billed me for 7 copies of this game. I only wanted 1. I don't need 7 copies. And
really?
now, instead of it costing however much it costs, which I think is probably about 35, 40 quid, it's cost them £328.93.
Just think of all the Mario levels they can make those 7 at the same time.
Oh, dear
7
me.
consoles.
So, I mean, there's a guy here who tweeted, at Game Digital, I just called my bank because it's gone overdrawn. You took the payment 5 times. I ordered 1 copy. What the hell? There we go. Also, this guy, you have taken £234.95 for Super Mario Maker. When will I get my money back? Thanks for the update. Just checked. I've got 5 confirmation emails in £234.95 of pending transactions showing on my bank. And then Game tweeted, hello all. The Game team have investigated the issues surrounding orders of Super Mario Maker. Said issues will be resolved within 24 hours. Apologies once again, and thank you for your patience. Now, on the face of it, it is quite funny because it's like that is quite a bad screw up. On the other hand, someone makes a point here. The first tweet in this article. I just called my bank because it's gone overdrawn. Now, for a lot of people,
yeah, you get charged.
Going overdrawn is severely bad. Like, it is world-ending.
Yeah, it's like a 30 quid instant charge.
Some banks are just arseholes about it, unless you've got some sort of overdraft thing set up. Like, my bank account, if I go overdrawn, I don't get a charge straight away. I get a grace period by where I can put funds in, and I won't get charged. Or if I do, it will be like 5 pence or something. It won't be something like horrendous. A lot of people don't have that. I think I've only got that because I've been with the same bank for the last 15 years or something, because I think my first account was set up with them. Some people, they go overdrawn, and it's like, you've been overdrawn by £1, have 200 quid fine. That is a colossal fuck up on Game's part, because that fine will most likely stand. I assume so. They'd better, because it's not the customer's mistake. It's entirely their fault. Like, their system had a massive screw up, and so people have not only been charged for 7 copies of a game they only want once, but they've also been forced to go overdrawn for something that they didn't ask for, which they will then get charged for by the bank. Game should really not only...
Somebody asked in the comments, it says, like, will Game cover any fees incurred for unauthorised overdrafts? They bloody well should, as the bank, certainly mine, can be a real pain in the arse. I mean, the banks won't care. The banks will just be like, no, you're overdrawn, and the banks will fuck you about for ages. I'd imagine you probably could get your money back, but they're not going to give it you back straight away. They'll fuck you about for weeks.
Yeah, they should just, when they issue a refund to the customer, it should come with a question attached, which was, how much was your overdraft charge? And if they can verify that with the bank, that the overdraft charge was enforced, then they pay that as well. That's what they should do, because it's entirely their own fault. I know automated systems can have a problem, stuff can go wrong, but all the same, that doesn't make it the customer's fault that your automated system fucked up and charged them more than it should. So they should absolutely pay for it. But yeah, I didn't like Game to begin with. Like him even less now. Incompetent all over the place. No PC games, and they can't even charge you for a Wii U game properly. That's Game in a nutshell.
I've bought, like, from Game, I don't actually remember buying games, because what I used to do is I'd buy from, like, little local independent retailers, like that Discs and Discs place and places like that. Yeah,
they were good because they'd get stuff in like really early. Like, you'd go in to like get a copy of something, like pre-order a copy of something.
They'd break the street date and stuff as well, wouldn't they?
Just to date it a little bit, I went in to pre-order Need for Speed Carbon. This was years ago. I can't remember when that game came out. And I went in to pre-order it, and the guy just went, okay, and just gave me the box. I was like 4 days early. Like, genuinely, like nearly a week early. And he just gave it me. He was like, there you go, mate. I was just, okay. Just took it home. It's brilliant.
You need this now for YouTube, because then you could do some shit-hot fucking gameplay videos before anybody else.
Yeah.
That's what we need these local retailers to come back.
But not if you're under NDA and NDA, because I saw something the other day which made me laugh, but in like in a pitying way. Some guy managed to get hold of some gameplay footage of Vermintide. Like, he played it. I think it was at an event somewhere, and then he recorded it, and then he just went and put it up on YouTube on his channel, and he posted it in the Warhammer subreddit, and immediately everyone was going, you should take that down. You're under NDA. And he was like, oh, no, it's fine. I captured it myself. It's like, no. You need to take it down. You're under NDA. And then I checked his channel later, and it was gone. So, obviously, that's not the first time he'd done that. But, yeah, that was one of those occasions where I was just looking at it going, oh, shit, this is not going to go well. This is going to go badly.
The best, like, I mean, talking of NDAs, obviously we have to deal with them quite a bit, but the funniest ones are when a game is, like, out and you can play it, and there's a game called no, actually, I think Blood Bowl has got some ludicrous shit where the 22nd of September is the embargo date for Blood Bowl 2. Yet everybody can already play it if you've pre-ordered it, so they can't possibly police that because people have got access to the game. So it's like, well, there's no embargo there, is there? What's that about?
Yeah.
There was also there was a game a while back. Well, it kind of happens quite often, but when games are like available to people through some sort of early access means, but you can't make reviews on them, it's like, but hang on a minute, you already can. I mean, you get people who ignore this as well. YouTube's a bit of a cesspit in this regard, especially the channels that fight for, you know, your standard channels that do like gameplay walkthroughs and whatever. It's in their interest to get the latest games as fast as possible, and as soon as they get them, they put videos out. They don't care about NDAs. I mean, remember, we've been burnt in the past where we've waited for NDAs to lift, haven't we?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, what the fuck? Somebody's uploaded a video to this game a day before. It's like, hey.
There's been a couple of instances where we have made the content well in advance of the NDA lifting, and you know, we've put the video on the channel. It's all been ready to go. It's been set to literally publish the second the NDA goes. So it's like the NDA lifts at 2 p.m. So the video has been on the channel for like 3 days, set for 2 p.m. It is all ready, and then you go and you look on YouTube, and it's like, this idiot's been uploading footage for like the last 2 days. What the fuck is this?
Yeah, and we're not talking like a little channel. We're talking like it'll be a major channel. It's like, what the fuck? Yeah. They're only doing it because they want to, you know, get control of the search terms in the search engine, but whatever. Yeah, anyway, I remember buying World of Warcraft from it wasn't Discs and Discs, it was another little shop, which was a really small, like, little independent retailer. And to tell you something, I'd like to go into shops like that now, but I just don't think they exist anymore, do they?
I don't think they do. My biggest thing for going to shops like that was second-hand games. Like, I really liked the aspect of going in and looking at second-hand game, but that's not even a trade on PC anymore. I don't think that even exists, does it?
It can't do.
It's just, I remember the first time I came across something where I bought something second-hand but then couldn't use it was I want to say it was Half-Life 2, or was it Half-Life? It was one of the two. It might have been the original Half-Life, actually. And that came with a cereal that someone had already used. And like, when I picked it up, I was like, why is this only £2? Like, it was really cheap, like insanely cheap. Went over to the counter, I was like, is there something wrong with this? He goes, well, what you'll have to do is you'll have to email them or call them and say that you now own the game and give them the cereal, and you'll have to prove that you have the box, and then you'll be able to activate the game. And I was like, okay. And I did, and it worked, but that was a long time ago. That was a long, long time ago. And
would have been easy just to get a crack. You know what I used to do? I used to go into Woolworths, which don't even exist anymore. They used to leave the manuals in the game boxes, but not the game itself. So you could open the box and just see the
take the serial
key. Yeah, and I used to, like, I was only young like when I did it, and I'd just like memorize it. It's so ghetto. Like now, I mean, if you were doing it now, you'd have like a camera phone, but I'd memorize it and write it on my hand or something.
I bet if you opened up,
like when I walked out the shop,
if you opened up a case in like a game retailer now, and had your phone out anywhere near the case, and the booklet was still in it, the person behind the counter would absolutely lose their shit. You just wouldn't be able to get away with it, would you? It'd just be like...
It just doesn't happen. There's just nothing in the boxes, is there?
Yeah.
Just an empty box on the shelf. But it was funny that, you know, like, you can imagine what they've done. They got all the games sent to them, and then somebody's gone through and took the discs out of every box but left the manual in because somebody doesn't understand, because it's some middle-aged woman who ain't got a clue. I don't know why it would be a middle-aged woman. That's just because it was a middle-aged woman in Woolies.
It was always middle-aged woman in Woolies. Don't know
what she's doing. No idea about games at the time, because it's like the fucking 90s or something. Well, it would be the 90s. It'd be like the early 2000s. Crazy. Anyway, moving on.
Garry's Mod 2 is in development, but it won't be called Garry's Mod 2, and it will have VR support. This is kind of... So, Facepunch Studios are working on Garry's Mod sequel. Studio founder Gary Newman told PC Games N in a recent interview, but don't you dare call it Garry's Mod 2. Newman's comments on the sequel came when asked if he'd ever consider raising the price of the first game. We wouldn't raise the price now. I mean, we're kind of working on a sequel, so it'd be stupid to raise the price, really. It's early days. We're looking at having more VR stuff in it. That's the big point of it, and it won't be called Garry's Mod 2. At first, I kind of thought, what's the point? But VR is obviously the point for Garry's Mod, because it's all crazy physics-based nonsense. The only thing is that Garry's Mod it works off Source, doesn't it? It's just a crazy playground built in Source with all of the other models and various physics stuff that is so in Source. So it takes stuff out like Team Fortress 2 and Half-Life, and people have managed to get other stuff in there as well. Like when we messed about in Garry's Mod, wasn't there stuff out of Dawn of War in there?
Yeah, you can import other game models into the engine if you've got the file, like the whatever the hell I don't understand it, but if you've got like the file, like the art file or whatever, it could like render it.
Yeah. So at first I didn't see the point of this, but actually also Source 2 as well, thinking about it. I mean, Dota 2 is now the first game that's running on Source 2. I guess it's just going to be part of a bigger push, isn't it? They're going to try and put more stuff in VR now. VR is getting more and more popular. We've got more than one choice now as well. He's got the, what is it, the Vive, which is a terrible name. There's what is the other one? It's
the Oculus Rift is the main one, and then the Sony's. The Sony one's just fucking console shit though.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I've never been that. Garry's Mod never grabbed me. It was never one of those things where there are people who just.
I never understood it. Like Garry's Mod came out when I was playing, like, you know, Counter-Strike or whatever, and I just was like, what the fuck? Like, why would you play? This isn't even a game. It's just shit. It's just like walk around, and you had the gun, didn't you, where you could like fucking move stuff, and you could like. I was just like shit, and I didn't get it. But there are a load of games which have been made, mods like custom game modes and shit which have been made with Garry's Mod, and people fuck about in Garry's Mod and do all kinds of shit. We all know there's a massive YouTube culture, which I got to be honest. When I read this quote here about at the bottom of that article where Garry says like, if you priced it at $50 or $30 or even $20, I don't think it had lasted 10 years. I don't know if I agree with that. The reason it's lasted so long is because YouTube just keeps it going. Because again, fucking hate rant on YouTube. YouTube rewards people who get loads of views. It doesn't reward anything else. So this forces big channels to constantly keep playing the major draws. Like, why are there always Happy Wheel videos? Why are there always Garry's Mod fucking stupid videos? It's because people watch them, and there always will be, and that shafts other channels like ours on YouTube. But there you go. Yeah, so I'm in the same boat as you again. I never really fucking played this sandboxy, like, construction style kind of games have never really fucking done it for me. Minecraft's never done it for me. This game, again, never really done it for me. We have fucked about in it and had a bit of a laugh, but that's just kind of how it would always be for me.
That was
like a fuck about thing. And then
it was a funny thing to mess around in a couple of hours, but I can't really imagine sitting there and like playing it for any length of time outside of that. I know there's loads of game modes and stuff in there as well, but again, that's like, I've loaded those up, and this is going to sound really harsh, but I'm just going to go with it. I don't find memes funny. So if I go onto a public server and every single person in there is spamming sound effects of like Duke Nukem telling people to suck his balls, or like the sound of terrorists making noises, or explosions, or the banana song, or whatever, none of that is interesting or funny or makes for a good gameplay experience to me. So whenever I go on any of these servers, and I've tried this before just because I've been like, there's got to be something to this. Like, people got to play this for a reason. And you join a server, and it's just like a cacophony of idiot sounds, and everyone's spray is like a rage face, or like the guy who can't hold all the limes or something. And I'm in there for like 5 minutes, and then I just think, I'm the only person over 12 on this server. No, and then I just leave, and it's like, it sounds harsh,
it's a kid's
but
game.
It's like,
It's what it is. It's like, if you took yourself back to being 12, though, you'd probably find it quite funny. Haha, look, I can spam music through a game, and I'm forcing this guy to listen to my music, and all of that shit. Like, honestly, Garry's Mod 2, you're probably right. It's probably because of Source 2, and it'll be based on that, and all the models from Source will be able to be used in it, because obviously, you know, why wouldn't they be? And then it's probably got more advanced features, so it's easier to use. Obviously got the VR support built into it, and from there, when other Valve games are launched, no doubt their elements would be slammed into Garry's Mod. So it sort of makes sense that it is updated for the new engine, and it's not really a shock that they're doing that, because Garry's Mod has made a shitload of money. Because I mean, I used to follow him on Twitter, but then I stopped. He tweets things out all the time about how many sales it's made, and it just makes loads of money all the time.
Yeah, and it's, as you say, it's like massively driven by YouTube, because people are still playing it all these years later.
It is. It's just driven. It's driven by YouTube. That's it. YouTube is such a monster for that kind of thing. Without YouTube, it wouldn't be a thing.
Yeah. Well, talking of people being immature and little shits.
But you know what? Actually, no. You know what? It's really it's the publisher's ideal YouTube game, because they don't have to pay for any advertising,
they don't have to do
and they know they just keep getting it, and they must sit there and piss themselves laughing, because it's like, haha, these guys have to keep making videos on our game because that's how they make their money, and it's advertising our game.
And every time they get 5 million views, I get a load of sales, and then So yeah, people being shitty and irritating in public. Heroes of the Storm is getting new reporting tools to combat toxicity, because of course MOBAs are lovely hug boxes where everyone's really nice to each other, and it does not in any way mean that people are little shits. So this is basically exactly the same thing that you've got in League of Legends. So if you look at it, abusive chat, intentionally feeding, AFK or non-participation, cheating, botting or hacking, and inappropriate names, and of course spamming. Now, I was under the impression that they kind of wanted to avoid having all of this stuff that League of Legends and every other MOBA on Earth has got to try and combat toxic players by not allowing the teams to talk to each other and stuff. But I always feel like they missed a key point, which is that a lot of the time, the abuse isn't coming from the other team. The abuse is coming from your team. Because the other team don't give a fuck if you get ganked in the jungle.
They want you to be shit, yeah.
They might say lol or something, and that'll be the grand total of the comment. And yeah, people will respond to that and lose their shit because they've just been ganked in the jungle. But it won't be the other team that are going, you fucking suck, kill yourself, I fucked your mum, you little shithead. They're not going to be doing that. They're just going to be sitting there going, yeah, next time he goes in there, we'll kill him again. It's your own team.
I am your father. You're right, though. It is your own team. Yeah, it's just a bit everything. You're right. It is your own team that slams you in MOBAs. Because if you die, it's such a team-orientated game. If you die, you've sold your team down the fucking proverbial river.
Down the river.
And that's bad. I mean, Heroes of the Storm, it's not as harsh when you die, because you can die and sort of it doesn't really matter that much. But if you keep dying, it does matter. And if you do something horrendously bad in a team engagement, this is from my experience of playing it. If you do, like, you don't stun the right person, if you're a character with a stun or whatever, somebody will pick you up on it. If you lose the fight, they'll be like, oh, so-and-so's crap or whatever. And the hate starts flowing straight away, you know.
And the thing is, you don't even have to go into the game to see it. Like, something that makes me laugh, because I used to be like this, and it's one of the reasons I don't talk to anyone on MOBAs. Whenever I play them, it's like, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not even going to get involved. Is I follow Jesse Cox on Twitter. Now, if you follow Jesse Cox on Twitter, at least once every 2 days, there will be a veritable barrage of tweets saying that someone on his team in Blizz Heroes was a fucking scrub and was totally useless, or, oh my god, the matchmaking is so terrible, oh, my team was crap, oh, we lost because that guy fed, or whatever. It will happen all the damn time, and he's even addressed it himself, kind of saying, if you don't like me bitching about Heroes of the Storm, then don't follow me. That's one guy who I happen to follow on Twitter. Granted, yes, he is a YouTube personality, but that doesn't really make any difference. The fact is, he's just a guy who plays the game, regardless of what he does on YouTube. And you can see
I just went to his YouTube channel to just see if he is making Heroes of the Storm videos, and he's not. So I was going to say maybe, you know, the only reason he's playing it is because he wants to keep making videos. But there's no Heroes of the Storm fucking videos I can see in the last 2 weeks anyway.
No, he just plays it because he wants to play it, but then he goes on massive.
Oh, he's got an esports team, hasn't he?
He has, yeah.
What are they called?
It's Stellar Lotus, ain't it? Is it Stellar Lotus?
Yes,
Solar
it is.
Jaguar
it is, isn't it? Yeah. It is. It's Solar Jaguar. It is a team. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it's like you don't even have to go into the game to see the rage, and it's almost always against your own team. I've hardly ever seen him complain about other people, like the people on the other team. But then that's because you can't communicate them with them in Heroes. Like, you just can't do that. So people on the other team are almost like insignificant in terms of your gameplay experience, because they're not the ones ripping the shit out of you. Whereas your own team is sitting there going, you're
giving it
terrible, you're crap. And it's like, that was just like, it just kind of makes me laugh, because when they started out, there seemed to be this whole thing of, you won't get that attitude in Heroes, because it's a different style of game, you know, it's quicker, it's faster, you know, the losses won't be as severe because the games aren't as long, and you can't talk to the other team anyway. And all the time I was sitting there thinking, I can count, like, on the fingers of one hand how often there's been rage from the other team directed at, like, me or someone on my team.
Yeah.
I would need the hands of everyone in China to count the number of times that there's been an argument on my fucking team. So why did they even think that that was a solution? And of course it's not, because now they're just introducing all the same measures that every other MOBA ever does, because, well, that's the only way to deal with it.
There is no solution.
And it won't deal with it anyway. It won't deal with it anyway. So
these games are just it's just part of the design of the game. It's integral to the game that people are wankers, and there's no way to get around this. There is no way. Like, it's just the same. If you're working on anything in a team, and somebody in that team does something and it sells you down the river, or causes your project to fail, or obviously in the sense of MOBAs causes you to lose, you're not happy. I play football. I've played thousands of games of football with teams, and if somebody fucks up, they know they've fucked up, and the team let them know. Like, you've fucked us. You have absolutely fucked the whole team there. There's no way of getting around this. Working on a project together, and then somebody fucks up. Imagine me and Kirioth working together on a video, and then we put hours of work into it, but for some reason, what I've done, the footage that I'd recorded or something, just it doesn't work. But we've spent hours on it, and now we can't fix it. It's not going to be like, oh well, thanks for that, Mr. Stylo. So that's great. Like, what the fucking hell are you doing? You would get angry, and that's just natural, and there's no way around it. And that's why I don't play MOBAs.
It even applies to
I've even been like, I want to play a MOBA. We played Heroes of the Storm for a bit, and I was like, now I just can't take it anymore, and I just cannot take MOBAs anymore.
It even happens when you're in like you say, it even happens when it's like an actual team. So like playing with people that you're friends with, there will still be points where it's like someone does something completely stupid, and you would just be like, what the fuck was that? And it's if you're prepared to do that to someone and you play games with every night, you're sure as hell going to do it to someone you don't know, because the person you don't know is like so far removed from you that it's like, oh well, I prefer not to hurt this guy's feelings, but this guy, fuck him. Like, I don't even know this guy. He's
and then it's that thing of, I'm having a really good game. I'm playing really well. I'm getting loads of kills, but this guy keeps dying, and oh shit, we're going to lose the game because of him. Then you're like, you fucking wanker.
It's just
everybody does it. Everybody does it. There's no players out there that sit there and seriously do not go, you're a fucking wanker, because I've done it, Kiri's done it, everybody has done it. That's the problem. We're humans, and we fucking do that shit.
You cannot have like a 5-person or a 10-person or whatever person cooperative experience that relies on everyone playing their part and not have some sense of annoyance or anger when someone fucks up. Even when you fuck up yourself, it's not like you're sitting there going, oh well, you're usually going, ah fuck, I messed that up. And then of course someone says, oh, you fucked that up, and it's like, yeah, dickhead, I know I fucked it up. And it doesn't matter who starts it, it always ends up starting. And there's just nothing you can do about it except introduce these measures and then watch them fail. Oh dear, MOBAs. Don't. I mean, the solution is just not to play them. That works. I've had no abuse from MOBAs since I stopped playing them. It's 100% guaranteed beautiful solution to the problem. Better news is this: that the Witcher 3 expansion, Hearts of Stone, is coming soon, and it starts at level 30. So if you're not level 30, then you're not going to be able to do it. Which is
good. That's really good, because you know what? If this was like at the end of the game, nobody would buy it, because there's probably 1% of people who have completed The Witcher 3 who own the game. So, well, no, that's not fair. Most people probably completed it, but I haven't. Now, I'd be like, oh, look, Witcher 3 expansion. I want it, but like I can't get it because I haven't finished the game. So, but it's just level 30. It is good.
Yeah, and it has been pointed out as well that someone asked about New Game Plus saves. And they've said that the quests for this expansion will scale up for New Game Plus as well. So they've taken that into consideration. It's bad because I really liked The Witcher, but I just didn't get very far with it because it intimidated me too much. But whenever seeing this, it's like, oh, maybe I should give it a go. And having completed having finished the main story of Mad Max, although that turned out to be about 5 hours long, if I'm honest. I don't know, maybe there is time to play The Witcher 3. But yeah, if you're above level 30, knock yourself out. I've no doubt it'd be quality, because everything else in The Witcher 3 was, so I don't see why the quality would suddenly drop from the expansion. Again. There's another new release, well, sort of new release. God's Brawling MOBA SMITE goes live on Steam, so you can now play SMITE via Steam if you really, really want to. I think it'll actually help it quite a bit, to be honest. I don't know why it wasn't on Steam before. I think quite a lot of companies...
I thought it was, I thought this was on Steam, and when I seen the news, I was like, hey, it's not on Steam, and then, I realised it's just in their own like little Hi-Rez launcher thing where you can launch the other games from.
I think a lot of companies try and make it without Steam. Like, Elite Dangerous did the same thing. Admittedly, SMITE has lasted a lot longer without being on Steam than Elite Dangerous did.
Yeah, this will help SMITE quite a bit, yeah.
But I think a lot of companies try and kind of go it alone. I think they don't want to be dependent on Steam, or at least seem to be dependent on Steam for extra revenue or extra players. But the fact is that Steam it's got a monopoly on that side of the market, pretty much. So if you
I think when you get into bed with Steam, you start giving them money. That's what they don't want to do. It's like we want to be our own distributor because then we don't have to, give a cut to Steam, because Steam will take a cut of microtransactions that have taken place with that have gone through Steam registered accounts.
Yeah, but then surely the added player base that you get from Steam would make up for that. Like, I don't.
Well, that's the gamble, isn't it? That's the gamble. We don't know what. Well, I think the cut's out there, but
this is the thing.
I don't know what it is, but
this is the thing that gets. The thing that I don't understand though is that you say it's a gamble, but if no one picks up the game on Steam and no one buys any microtransactions, I mean, how much does it cost to list your game on Steam?
There must be some kind of cost. There's got to be some sort of distribution fee, because like you're putting your game on Steam and Steam servers are delivering it out. They're like the distributor, ain't they? There's got to be some bullshit fee. It can't just be like, oh, yeah, it's free.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's right. It's just I've always thought surely that the number of people on Steam would mean that a huge number of people must take it up when they see it, or at least try it.
Steam, yeah, they must do. I mean, Steam's interesting because if you look at the store.steampowered.com/stats, it's very interesting seeing what games are being played a lot. Like you get obviously Dota and Counter-Strike are massive at the top. Then you've got Team Fortress 2. But when you start coming down the list, you get to things like Warframe, which has got currently 27,305 people playing it. That's a shitload.
Yeah.
That's Warframe. And that is really fucking good. That's a free-to-play game. What the hell is going on there? That's a big player base.
So surely SMITE would... I mean, actually, I can see SMITE here. Current players is 7.3 thousand.
And but it's only just come out on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like a new release.
That's only on Steam as well, so that's added to their... I mean, I wonder if we can find out, like, SMITE concurrent players. They probably haven't put this information out there. They generally don't. Somebody from January says how many people are playing. Nobody knows.
I mean, it is really popular. I'd imagine it's a good number of people, but I think honestly, I think if you can put your game on Steam, you should.
They reckon 90,000 a day, but I don't know what these stats are according to. It says matches played per day, unique players per day, 90,000 for SMITE. That's a lot on its own.
Yeah.
If that's true, I mean, if that's true, because I mean, Dota does like what 800,000 or something, done it, and League of Legends does over 1 million, don't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, League of Legends is ridiculous.
Still, that's fucking good. If you've got a game that like 90 to 100,000 people are playing a day just on your own platform, and then you're going to add to it on Steam, then that's fucking good.
Yeah, definitely.
I think sometimes you do get disconnected, like from what games are being played, especially when you just get involved in the games that you like playing. I mean, it's crazy to see that Sid Meier's Civilization is still like top 10 material, even like
that's crazy.
Then you've got like H1Z1 with only 10,000 people playing it currently. I thought, well, I say only, that's still a good number. I thought that would have been more because of the, you see people streaming that all the time and God knows what. Euro Truck Simulator is always a legend of a game and whatever. But
Heroes, I mean,
that's a free-to-play game, yeah. That's a free-to-play game.
That's huge, though, for players, which is...
Yeah.
I just wouldn't have put that as something that people would be playing on Steam. Like, I just don't... Yeah. God, I'd say what, every time I see stuff about SMITE, it kind of makes me want to play it again, because it is quite good for a MOBA.
It is a good game. SMITE's got a really crazy game mode where they... you're in this arena and you just beat the shit out of each other, and it's quite good. That is, that's quite good.
Well, the last thing we've got is I won't put it on the screen because it's just the headline, but it's Dragon's Dogma: Dark Arisen is coming to PC, and it's going to be ported in 2016.
I don't even know what this is.
Now, this is it's an action RPG, and the only reason I know about this is because I know a bit about it. It's apparently quite a sort of stereotypical fantasy action RPG, maybe a little bit darker than others. It seemed to do quite well, like critically, but it's got kind of a crazy system where it's called the pawn system, whereby your party is made up of your own character plus NPCs called pawns that you can borrow from other players online. So there's like, you can kind of share about your party members with other people. Which, I mean, I don't know how it works in the context of the game, but it's kind of an interesting take on that whole thing of, like, when you look at like the Dragon Age games and, in fact, most RPGs where you've got your little followers running around, your little NPCs that give you a hand in fights and so on, and part of the story.
Yeah.
It's like it seems like quite an interesting take on that. I mean, it's from the same director that did Devil May Cry 2, 3, and 4 as well. So I don't know, it just looks quite interesting. And something else is this game it came out in 2012, so it's quite an old title. So for it to suddenly be getting the port treatment off Capcom is it's a bit crazy.
Capcom ports have been shit in the past, though. I mean, if it's a shit port, then
yeah, well, that's.
I'm watching the video. Seriously, I don't know what this game is. I mean, I'm watching a video of it, and yeah, like you said, it's like you control one guy and you've just sort of got a group of other people who are just rolling about for you. It kind of looks like
it looks standard action
Monster
RPG,
Hunter?
Doesn't it? But yeah, with like
the
like
way the combat's going on,
a bit of Monster Hunter kind of.
I'm probably going to get butchered by people who play these games, but yeah, it kind of looks like that.
Yeah, it seemed like a bit of an outlier, like a bit of a weird choice to suddenly port it, given the age of it, and I guess just given the competition, I suppose. It's like this isn't like an established franchise on PC, is it? When you think about action RPGs on PC, you now think of stuff like The Witcher, and you think of stuff like Dragon Age.
Well, if this is a PS3 game, it's going to be difficult to port to PC anyway, so it seems weird that they do it, unless they've got a new team that needs to be broke in on something, and they're like, boys, just fucking port this.
Give it a go. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't matter, because it's a 3-year-old game already, and it'll be 4 years old by the time the port comes out. Yeah, it was just a bit of a weird one.
But we'll get wrecked with Steam refunds. So no pressure, boys. Oh God,
don't fuck it up, please. Well, that's pretty much all we've got for Hotfix this week. I have to admit, there's been like a bit of a lack of massive topics this week, but every now and again you get that.
We're going into like the period of where we're going to start seeing all the bloody standard major releases coming out and all of that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, as it slowly rolls towards Christmas. Even though I heard someone in Tesco the other day saying that they were going to start doing their Christmas shopping, which is utter insanity. I mean, God's sake, it's September.
I do Christmas shopping like a week before. Not even that. I just order it online and hope it turns up.
September.
And it doesn't. I'm like, I'm sorry, I bought you a present, but it's
Amazon
not here
didn't
yet.
Deliver it.
Yeah, no, it'll come, right?
Or Royal Mail brought it, but they put it in the bin. Jokes. So that's been Hotfix for this week. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. We'll come back on Saturday at 2 PM.
Good Lord.
BST. We're still at BST, aren't we? That'll change soon, won't it?
Fuck knows. Yeah, I'll go back to GMT.
Yeah. 2 PM BST on Saturday for the Pubcast, which is always delightful and glorious. And as we said before, if you want to support Hotfix and the Pubcast, you can do so by clicking the linky up there, or the linky down there, which will take you to our Patreon page. And anything you can do to contribute via Patreon is greatly appreciated, because it keeps both of the shows running, and without it, they would not exist. They would be like poor orphan children living on the street, and no one wants that.
In a Metal Gear Solid cardboard box.
Yeah, or in some sort of bikini. I found out why she wears that, and apparently it's because she breathes through her skin, which is the most fucking stupid excuse.
Hang on a minute, where's this gone?
That woman in Metal Gear Solid 5, you know, the one who's in a bikini?
Suddenly went to bikini? No? Oh, quiet.
Yeah. It's because she breathes through her skin, apparently, which is the most bullshit reason for having eye candy on the screen I've ever heard in my life. So
she breathes through her skin. So
if she wears clothes, bloke, she'd suffocate. That's honestly the justification that's given. I thought someone had made it up, but then they linked to like the wiki, and it's like actually the guy Kojima is actually saying it, that like with a straight face as well. That's the reason.
He's just off his head.
Mental. 100% mental. Anyway, see you on Saturday, ladies and gentlemen.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much for watching.